Hi guys, how's it going? I hope you're all doing well. I decided to do this video because I know a lot of people might be struggling staying at home. That's why I decided to ask two of my friends, Letitia in Wuhan, China, and Elisa in Italy. Letitia has now been home for more than 2 months and Elisa more than a month. So I think they can share a lot of information that will help us all. I'll leave you with their videos right now, and after the videos, I'll go ahead and say a few things that I think can help us all. I hope you enjoy them and you can learn from what they have to say. Take care.
Hey guys, I'm Letitia from Wuhan.
Hello there, my name is Elisa, and here I am to share with you my experience and my thoughts about this situation we are facing in Italy with the COVID-19. I live in the north of Italy, Milano, where we started with a partial quarantine and lockdown 5 weeks ago, and measures were increased gradually.
And this time I came back to Wuhan on January 19th for the Spring Festival holiday, which is one of the biggest holiday and most important holiday in China. So, but then the next day I woke up on 20th, the number of confirmed coronavirus cases just went from 30 or 40 to 130 something. And that's when people got cautious and the central government sent experts to Wuhan to investigate and try to have things figured out. On the same day, the experts told us that this virus could transmit from person to person, which is different from what the previous expert told us, that it could only transmit from animals to people. So that's when I got panic, and so did everybody else. So then, on 22nd, the number went up to 444, like more than doubled than the 20th. So on 23rd, the government finally announced that they're gonna lock down the whole city. This is how it all started.
Everything started on end of February, between the 22nd and 23rd, when the first people were infected, and this happened in the north of Italy in a city called Codogno. So immediately the first measures were taken and this area was closed, and for the rest of northern Italy there were like some measures that weren't that strict at the moment, like closing restaurants or places where people can gather, and we were asked to stay home and also to avoid social contacts. Then when the situation got worse, these measures were spread also for geographically to all Italy, and also they were made more strict in terms of what you can do outside. So right now it's the third week, I'm starting the fourth week of lockdown, where I can go out only for grocery or for very urgent issues or things like go to the pharmacy or to the hospital. That's it.
Well, as long as you have internet connection, I think this is no obstacle for anyone, right? As for me, I usually sleep until I woke up naturally, and then I meditate for a while, 20 to 30 minutes, and breakfast, and then I prefer reading or study online courses for a while in the morning, and then lunch. In the afternoon, what I usually do is watch movies or TV series, and sometimes listening to music while drinking some tea. And if I feel like dancing, I also dance a little bit to the music. And then I always do some exercise from 5 to 6 p.m. Sometimes yoga, sometimes just, other kinds of dances. And then at night, also reading and courses or talk to friends like that. And so if you're living by yourself, it could be boring. But if you're living with friends or families, especially families like in China, you know, things could be quite dramatic sometimes. You guys just fight if you live and stay together for too long, you know, especially that I've been away from home for 10 years now, living and studying by myself. So yeah, that could be a problem and sometimes fun.
Well, I work from home during the weekdays, and so my weekdays are just normal as they were before, just I don't go to the office, so I'm trying to spend the time I was commuting in something productive. So I started working out, and I read some books, maybe just for half an hour when I have breakfast and this kind of stuff. And during weekends, I go to the grocery, so I go outside for a little, and then I stay home, read books, watch TV. I spend a lot of time in video calls with friends. We are having a social aperitivo in video call and this kind of stuff. So I thought I was bored, and I am not.
As for getting food, at the very beginning, we were able to go out to get food freely to the supermarket. But then as the situation got worse, only one person from one family could go out to buy food in the supermarket. And then when it got even worse, the number of cases increased to, like, say maybe 10,000 or something. They stopped us from going out at all, not even to get food, because all the supermarkets and convenience stores, big or small, all. And later, when the number went up to more than 10,000, I think the situation got worse, and even when the central government sent troops and medical groups to Wuhan, it still seemed quite crazy. So they stopped everyone from going out at all and closed all the supermarkets and convenience stores, big or small, all of them. So you cannot get food by yourself, and you can only stay inside of your house or inside of your community. Yeah, that's it. And then, so how do we get food later? The community, they could take orders from the residents, and then they will give this orders to the people in the supermarkets. And so how do we get food then when we were just able to stay home like this? So the community, people in communities, like the workers or the volunteers, they would take orders from everybody online. We have these WeChat groups where residents are all in there, so they could take orders and then cooperate with the local supermarkets, big ones nearby, to provide food. And some communities could only provide like shopping combos, like A combo A or combo B with certain kinds of vegetables and certain kinds of meat and some groceries, other kinds of groceries for you to buy, like that. Also, there are several few, I think, like online shops that are open with professional deliveries. Those ones you could also get food from. But of course, it could be very in demand. You have to just shop online, just like the Double 11. Be very quick so that you can get the quota for every day. And it's definitely more difficult than normal, but it's still acceptable. And it's definitely much difficult to get food online than normal, but acceptable. Most of the time you have enough to eat, though probably you can't always get the kind of vegetables or meat you want, or not as fresh as they used to be. You still have to live with it. Well, in general, I'm satisfied with the food supply at my house, so it's not a big problem. And then as for prevention, but of course, the food supply situation varies from areas to areas or from family to family, depending on their financial condition and their living habits, I'd say. For some families, they could probably go without meat for a month or two, but for some families, they could still they're still willing to buy meat that is overpriced, I think.
Well, supermarkets are still open. They have a limited opening time, but still we can go for grocery. We are asked to go only once per week and only one member for the whole family. There are long queues outside the supermarkets, but still we can get food. They have stock there, so it's still fine.
At the beginning, it was quite okay because you can just stay at home and it greatly reduces your possibility of getting infected. But then 2-3 days after the announcement, my dad was called for at work because he works for the local government, and so every civil servant needs to stay put in their positions, either to help out the community, to deliver food, or to manage the community, to organize things, or they just need to stay in the office in case of emergencies or volunteer works. So then, yeah, that is a dangerous, hazardous. That's a hazard. So of course, that got me and my mom worried, because exposed to the outside world, to the virus, kind of put him in danger. And also, what if he carries the disease, carries the virus home, and then that will put our whole family in a dangerous situation. But luckily, he is still healthy and sound to this point. So, and how do we do that? It's simple. He wears masks every day and try to eliminate and avoid contacts with people from work, and as well as communications, and that works fine so far. And another thing he does to keep himself and me and my mom safe is to take off his shoes every time he goes back home and put them outside the door, and then take off his coat and pants as well, put them in a paper box, and then put the box on the balcony. And then he'd wash his hands with alcohol and take a shower. I think that definitely helped us to keep away from the virus. And another thing has to do with the Chinese medicine. So there's this kind of herb called artemisia, I think. What you do is, it's something like this, right? So what you do is you light it up with a fire or lighter, and then you just put it in the house. For example, if it's as short as this one, you can just put one in the living room, one in the bedroom, one in the bathroom. Just, let it burn. And another thing has to do with the traditional Chinese medicine. There's a kind of herb called artemisia, which looks like this. This is a short one. So what we do is we light it up and then put it in the living room, in the bedroom, and one in the bathroom maybe. So you just let it burn. The smoke would sterilize the whole environment to kill the virus. So that definitely help you to keep healthy. Well, another usage is you can also light it up and then use the heat to burn certain holes. And another usage for artemisia is that you can still light it up and then use the heat and smoke to boost your immune system. There are certain acupuncture points where you could put this on. like some points around your neck, and then there are also some points at the back, and some points on your legs. Yeah, I was told that are very, very powerful for your immune system. So if you're interested, maybe you could leave a message and Jeff could send you the pictures.
Well, just stay and go. I don't go out for anything. I try to have grocery online. It's very difficult right now, but I'm trying. Or if I go to the supermarket, I go only once per week and I'm wearing a mask and gloves.
My advice is try to eliminate the time you spend on news, both on TV or reading the posts online, because that could be very influential to your mental status. Take myself as an example. At the very beginning, when the situation is very unclear, you're so obsessed with posting and reposting and also reading all kinds of news online, try to figure out what is true and what is fake. That could really drive people crazy, I think. Of course, I want to know where this is going and how should I help myself, help the family to keep ourselves safe, and also see what I can do to help improve the situation. But then you realize there's very little you could do unless you have a lot of resource and power to move things around, So then you realize what you can do is just to stay at home and make yourself healthy. Don't go outside. That is most useful thing you can do as a citizen, I think. So another thing is to try to keep yourself healthy during this period while you stay at home, because your immune system seems to be the only weapon to fight against this coronavirus this time, as we don't have a certain effective cure so far. So you'd better sleep well, eat well, and also get certain exercises. Do not gain too much weight. Keep fit, because I have friends around me who gained lots of weight, and that could put yourself in danger if ever you got the disease.
There were two phases. So at the beginning, I didn't take very seriously, and I felt like I was restricted by my freedom, and so I was really angry and nervous. And the only way for me to change that bad mood was to understand the bigger picture and realize that it was very stupid. And this helped a lot. Now I feel really overwhelmed by the news, by the numbers of people dying and all this situation. So it's difficult from time to time to sleep because you have a lot of anxiety coming out of this. So I started not to watch anything related to COVID-19 after dinner time in order to sleep well. And what helps me a lot is I think a lot of what I'm gonna do when I will get back to normal. So where I'm going to eat, where I'm going to meet, and all this kind of stuff. And this is helping me a lot.
And so am I scared during this whole time? Of course, especially at the very beginning. On 20th, you really didn't know what's happening, and nobody is telling you what is true and what is fake. And so you can only wait at home. And there were rumors outside saying that the hospitals are already packed with fever patients, and there were not enough doctors and nurses to take care of them, not even taking their temperatures. So that's when I got kind of scared. And then on 23rd, when they finally locked down the city, yeah, that's like another test for everybody's mental condition, I think. Especially, the Spring Festival Eve on that day, that's when we locked down. That is supposed to be the biggest family get-together for Chinese people. So we're supposed to get together, reunion, and have a big dinner at night, and then watch the Spring Festival Eve Gala together. That tradition just broke that day, but just for Wuhan people, yeah. But at the same time, the small family, me and my parents, were staying at home by ourselves, not having a reunion with the big family. And so we stayed at home while watching the celebration for this festival, but at the same time, we were reading some articles or news from the WeChat moment or the posts from the WeChat saying that the situation is getting really worse. Some people just died in the hospitals and no one's taking care of them. That was the most scary time, I think, because you felt like nobody's coming to help you, to save you, and we were just locked in here and wait to die. It's like the whole world is going to collapse. So also there were rumors saying right before the lockdown, some people managed to flat out of the city and also there were rumors saying some people, maybe 300,000 people managed to. And then there's also news saying that about 300,000 people managed to flee out of Wuhan right before the lockdown. And so that's also kind of news that make people more nervous and panic. Also got on my nerves because you think, oh, the situation is probably that bad. So that many people would just choose to go out and find better places to live or to stay, with more medical resources.
Actually, I'm not scared. I am worried. I'm really worried about the health of my parents, of my family members that are not here with me. They are in another city. And also I'm worried for people that are working in the hospital. I have some friends working there, so I'm worried for them as well. And I'm worried also for our future and for the economic consequences.
On WeChat, we have this official account called Rumors or something, and then you can just type in the news that you want to identify, and it will tell you if it's true or not. And if the news is from other countries or related to other countries and other situations, I'd ask friends in certain areas or people in those countries, to see if it's true. And the good news is that Wuhan decided to lift its shutdown on April 8th, which is about 8 days from now. So that could be good news. And so the city will gradually return to normal after that, I think. Now, some people are already outside, going back to work or travel to places already. But the total freedom comes on the 8th. So that is good news. And so in China right now, the situation is quite in control. Most of the cases come from people who come back from foreign countries.
This is a big point here. Through social media or WhatsApp, there are a lot of fake news going around. And what I personally do is just that I have 2 or 3 websites or some news paper that I know they are very reliable, and that's the only one that I trust.
And as for internet, it works fine here. But myself, sometimes I'd go offline for a day or two to keep myself away from all the news and outside world, because it could be really depressing sometimes, and I got sentimental and depressed if I watch too much of it. You see those numbers and people desperate for help, and there's nothing you can do. it's just too much sometimes. So I'd go offline for a day or two to help myself clear my head and calm down and keep my mental health. So in order to keep mental health, another thing, except from meditation, is keeping a journal. I think that helps to write things down, clear your thoughts. When you have too much things in your head, you just can't think straight. You're too emotional. But if you write, you could really calm yourself down to straighten your thoughts and cool down.
No, it didn't, and it's still working very well, fast as usual, so we didn't have any technology problem, and I'm working from home the whole week with huge Excel files, and everything works fine. Actually, in Italy, we still don't know if we have reached the peak, so it is forecasted to be reached this week or the upcoming one, so people are still dying, unfortunately, especially now in Bergamo, where we have the worst situation. And also there are a lot of people getting infected day by day, and so that's not true.
So I hope everyone who's watching the video could gain some help and faith from it, and hope that one day things will go back to normal again, because we did it. Of course, you can do it.
I hope soon, but I don't think it will be very soon. I think it will take at least other 2 or 3 months. So I think we will be able to start normally in July, maybe June, but not early.
And next, some advices for you guys, for people who are in quarantine and are still in a very unclear situation and are kind of scared and panic about it. I think just try to stay at home as long as possible, because there's nothing you can really do outside right now, and it could be really dangerous out there. You don't know who got the virus and who doesn't, right? So if you really have to go outside, you have to wear a mask, and better with a pair of gloves as well. And then avoid contact with other people. You know, if you want to buy stuff, use gloves. Yes, because you don't know who touched them.
For us, it was unexpected. So we were the first experiencing this. So it was a little bit difficult at the beginning, especially because you are not prepared. But now I think that the whole situation is so well known everywhere that you have to be prepared, that you might spend a lot of time at home. There are plenty of things to do, so don't worry and just be prepared that this might happen.
Thank you, Letitia and Elisa, for sharing your story. On a personal note, I would like to ask everyone to please do the best you can to help out everyone you can. It's really up to all of us to make the situation better. Please take care and be safe.